Hello everyone. In this video, we will be looking into the concept of logistics service provider. That is, what services does logistics provides, and even the companies whatever are coming into picture, what they try to provide, right? So we will be seeing the concept of it under the it is a part of Unit 4 under logistics management. The learning objectives of this particular video is like to understand the concept of logistics service provider, and even to study the concept of carriers and forwarders, CEP services, even system service providers and contract logistics providers. So let's look into these concepts and try to understand why they came into picture and what is exactly those particular terminologies. So as we have seen, that is, if you try to observe some of the things, that is, apart from transport means, and that is means of transport and transport chains, which represent the technological and organizational aspect of transport systems, we can draw institutional distinctions according to the stakeholder involved in the transport system. So even we can distinguish between carriers, haulage contractors, forwarders, couriers, express service providers, parcel service providers, and logistics service providers. So transport system operators in turn can be differentiated according to the technologies they use. So for every transport mode, that is, there is a corresponding carrier, right? So these are companies that carry out transport autonomously, such as airlines are there, shipping companies are there, independent ship owners, and railroad companies. So even if you can see, that is, if you can take an example of ocean shipping, carriers are also referred to as consigners, right? So these are the terminologies used in the different that is, in the airline it is defined in a different way, but all have the same functioning, only the name have been differ. So functionings can be differing so based on their requirements also. And forwarders are the companies that are contractually obliged to organize transportation of goods. So this, however, usually implies disposition services, so as opposed to actual transport services. That is, forwarders actually act as a mediator between the party demanding the transport service, that is the sender, and the party providing the transport service, that is commercial goods traffic. Thus a forwarder organizes mode natural, that is mode which is neutral transportation of goods. So for this reason, forwarders are sometimes called the architects or organizers of the transport chains also, as you can see. So through own name transactions, that is transport services and other services may also be rendered by the forwarders themselves. So forwarders focus on certain transport modes or service areas such as truck, railroad, air freight, or sea freight. So with these operations, the forwarder organizes dispatch of goods shipment from different senders as consolidated cargo. So consolidated shipment or groupage or consignment it is called. So what is consolidated cargo actually? Even before moving to the consolidated cargo, it is apart from the consolidated, that is, what they do is like they bring out all the particular shipments whatever are need to be there. They try to consolidate into one thing. So apart from consolidated cargo traffic, there is combined transport also. So what exactly is combined transport? Combined transport is used for goods that either do not take up the full capacity of a means of transport, that is part load shipping we call. That is, they don't take up the full capacity of a means of transport. For example, a truck is there, so it is not fully utilized, right? So part load shipping, or that take up a transport means full capacity. So that is combined transport, that is full capacity where full load shipping is there. So combined transport is like they combine the particular means of transport and make use of this particular goods that either do not take up the full capacity or that take up a transport means full capacity. So that is regarding combined transport. Even the term consignment comprises, that is, consignment is nothing but it comprises all goods which have been handed over to a forwarder by a sender together with a shipping order and which are meant to be shipped to a receiver. So consignments, they give the consignments to the service providers, that is forwarders are given the consignments. So which exactly includes the goods, and even a shipping order is also given, that is bill or shipping order is given and based on that, that particular things are carried out. So a consignment may consist of several individual shipping orders. So conversely, one shipping order may be carried out through several consignments. So one shipping order may be carried out through several consignments will be there. And coming to the groupage traffic, it is a transport chain which involves the collection of single consignment within a local or regional area. So it is called as pre-carriage. And the spatial and temporal consolidation of grouped consignments of as many senders as possible and for receivers in the same destination areas. So the joint transportation of those consignments is in one means of transport over as long as the distance as possible. So it is a joint transport also, and it discharges at the points of destination, delivery of the consignments to the receiver. So onward carriage is there. So pre-carriage and onward carriage is done. So it is a groupage traffic which involves this particular chain, right? So one of the benefits of groupage traffic is economies of scale, which are brought about through increased capacity utilization of the means of transport. So generally we try to see, that is in logistics, this is observed in many of the cases, that we try to see economies of scale. So we try to increase the capacity utilization of the means of transport being utilized. So thus reducing transport cost per shipment. So many of the consignments, they try to make it together and they try to transport it so that the transportation cost per shipment can be reduced. It will be feasible for the even whoever is trying to use the particular means of transport. So that is why groupage traffic is groupage transport is very important, and it is very common for the transportation of general cargo shipments. So general cargo consists of individual goods in solid form which can be separately handled and informationally registered. So this include unpacked goods, packages and loading units. So they can weigh up from 25 to 3000 kgs also. So general cargo shipments are usually very heterogeneous and consist of several shipping units. So groupage transport is an important submarket of small goods transport, so which also includes courier services, express services, parcel services and mail services also. So this was a little bit introduction of carriers and forwarders, and they if you can see, that is logistics service providers, they even form the role of the carriers and forwarders, and when they try to follow this role, there have been many changes in the services they are trying to provide. So let's see what today's scenario is asking for the changes in the carriers and forwarders. So as you can see, changing scenario we are trying to find out, right? So the changing scenario is like increased focus on cyber security. So whoever are trying to provide the forwarder services, right, they the customer wants that they should focus on cyber security, because if they are trying to provide the cyber security services, they are like more than delighted. So the incident was a wake-up call for the freight forwarding and shipping industries, stimulating forwarders consideration of the need to strengthen data protection and guard against future attacks. So since the cyber calamity took place, freight forwarders, what happened is, well, like they were shifting with the times, transition from the traditional processes to faster, more responsive digital solutions we're trying to provide, and their focus on cyber security has not diminished. That is whether as we have discussed earlier also, that is traditional process, whatever it was there, but nowadays it is more demanding that faster and more responsive digital solutions have to be provided. So they have also felt the pressure to strengthen this data privacy and security due to many of the even particularly European Union's general data protection regulation have also been imposed, have been formulated, and it has imposed stringent data protection requirements on European logistics companies. And so this is very important, and even it tries to protect the data of the customers. And if you see, the freight forwarders around the world are interconnected with the help of the IT systems, right? So implementation of freight management systems was very much focused on, that is through which this cyber security can be protected. So ITS already applied solutions with growing popularity, usually optimizing freight and gathering information to control efficiency and conditions of fleet. So if you can see, this is implementation of freight management system. So implementation of IT systems, but that it is tried to related with the freight management systems. So it tries to get the solutions, applied solutions are there with growing popularity, and even optimizing of the freight and gathering information to control the efficiency of the efficiency and even the conditions of the fleet, and to manage the data properly. This is nowadays many of the freight forwarders, who are the carrier forwarders are there, they need to inculcate these services into their service providers. And coming to the next one under this is the digital freight solutions. So it has become essential for international freight forwarders, shipping lines and other participants to bring new digital solutions online. So as we say, digital India, and we are trying to go to the digital world. So digital solutions providing it online is very much required by many of the customers all over the world. So a range of different platform types has emerged, each designed to solve a particular problem for forwarders or shippers. Some examples I would like to quote here is the transport management system, so that connects shippers with the forwarders or carriers, right? Even tools to help forwarders generate tailored shipping schedules and provide targeted delay alerts, and even online freight marketplaces that enable shippers to compare freight quotes from different forwarders also. So all these services have been possible, right? The way we are seeing, that is e-business is growing on, even e-freight business services providers are providing their own services, where a particular platform is provided and different freight forwarders come together and try to quote it, and the customer who finds it relevant, they go with that particular freight forwarder. So even so, freight marketplaces have been introduced. So you can see the changing scenario, the evolution has been done, right? So after the digital freight solutions, the next one is the customer centricity. That is, the freight forwarding sector has traditionally been very process focused. As globalization has taken many changes, and many smaller businesses have find themselves in the need of shipping services, freight forwarders are under pressure to cast off this particular conventional approach and place customers at the forefront of modernization efforts. That is what exactly maybe the smaller business also they need to be focused on. That is what is happening. The earlier it was process focused, that is taking the particular product from one place and then dropping it, but now it is not the scenario. What exactly the customer wants, we need to make him more delighted, right? So that is why customer centricity is taking the path. And if you see, digitization is one of the key tools helping more progressive logistic providers bring this transformation about, and digitization is very important. And under digitization, if you can see, the blockchain concepts and artificial intelligence have been introduced, and that is, it is a blockchain solution currently in use, that is to streamline and secure the exchange of information between more than 90 companies, or more than the organizations whatever are there involved in global shipping activity. So even AI systems that augment human decision making and continuously learn from their interactions with human and environment have been introduced. That is, AI systems that can adapt to different situations and can act autonomously without human assistance have been taking the path. So as you can see, even many of the companies now in this COVID pandemic situation, they are trying to go for the autonomous, they are trying to go for the automation, sorry. So automation they are trying to focus on, and that can be observed through blockchain and AI, right? So that is what they want to see, that is the machines can do everything rather than they need to depend upon any human. So this is the changing scenario, and the services whatever the freight forwarders or are providing, they should need to undergo all this IT systems. They need to develop their particular organization in such a way so that they can attract more and more customers towards them. So this has been an top logistics service providers ranked by Armstrong and Associates. So if you can see in rank wise 2019, if you can see, XPO Logistics is the number one continuously from 2018 to 2019. If you can see, net revenue is also there. and gross revenue also have tried to mention here. So, and coming to the rank 2, second position is UPS Supply Chain Solutions, which has been consistently on rank 2, and rank 3rd, if you can see, is like DHL Supply Chain. So even it has been tried to maintain its position in 2018 and 19. And if you see rank 4, JB Hunt Transport Services has gained a lot compared to the 2018, which as you can see, that is fourth position was CH Robinson Worldwide, which was defeated by JB Hunt Transport Services, and it came ahead. So that is, there is a lot of scopes in logistics service providers. That's why and even much can be earned if you have the right IT, right forward, that is what is the requirement to today's right blockchain, artificial intelligence followed, then everything can be, that is, top companies can gain a lot out of this. In contrast to forwarders of group age cargo, what we have discussed earlier, CEP service providers, CEP nothing but courier, express and parcel services. Even mail service providers are also included under that. These service providers focus on specific transport objects such as documents or parcels with weight restrictions. Weight will be measured based on the weight they try to parcel it out, right? So even you might have courier something or parcel the something. So based on the weight, you have been charged by DHL Logistics or by any logistics company, right? Service provider. So these are that is with the weight restrictions, whose shipment usually only comprises one shipment unit. Usually they try to go with the one shipment unit. So you can, and these services require speedy transactions and high reliability. So express service providers express services provide transport of consignments with or without weight. Even if you see, express services are there, and even size restrictions will be there. So speediness and reliability are again paramount for this kind of services. And coming to the parcel services, it offer transport of one piece parcels with weight and size restrictions. So you can see that is courier services are that is what they are, like different weight restrictions will be there, and it is like host shipment usually only comprises one shipment unit. And express services, if you take into consideration, with or without weight and size restrictions will be there, and speediness and reliability are again paramount for these kinds of services. And parcel services, if you can see, offer transport of one piece parcels with weight and size restrictions. So in many cases, CEP service providers are integrators, that is integrated service carrier, so which are providing the entire transport chain. So they produce and sell their services autonomously by means of using their own planes, aeroplanes, or transshipment facilities and vehicles. So integrators continuously expand their worldwide networks. Thus, they are also expanding their business field by offering additional logistics services. So extended or suspended weight restrictions are leading to an increased overlap between the business fields of integrators, groupage cargo forwarders, and CP service providers. And even it is trying to boost the competition among the stakeholders. So mail services include the transports of coming to the, once we have seen CEP services, mail service providers, let's look into it. So mail services include the transport of letters, small goods, and mail items. And if you consider in Europe, mail service providers often used to be state owned, and meanwhile, however, many of the formerly state owned logistics companies have been privatized or are undergoing privatization process. And even you can see many of the companies are there, and in principle mail services are a highly specialized form of goods transport disposition by the state. So the fact that mailboxes are emptied on a regular basis, regardless of how many mailings are made, serves an example to differentiate mail services from other logistics and forwarding services. So apart from the formerly state-owned mail companies, there are privately run mail service providers also. So apart from the government, whatever we have, that is post office and all, we have the privately run mail service providers also. So these are going to broaden the range of services on the mail markets, especially due to the abolishments of the letter monopoly. So letter monopoly, whatever was there earlier, it has been demolished, right? Abolished. So if you can see, that is, there is going to be a lot of transition in this. You can see the diagram of competition matrix, that is forwarders or integrators. It was introduced in 2005 by Beslik in his paper. That is, if you can observe, that is on the x-axis there is delivery times, and on the y-axis it is shipment weight is there. So shipment weight can be varied from small or light to big or heavy. And if you can see on the x-axis delivery times are there, which is slow, greater than 24 hours, quick, that is over next day or overnight, and very quick are the same day. So if you can see very quick, nothing falls, right? Because even the same day it's still going on, so no services can be there in that region. So coming to the parcel services, if you can see, parcel services lies in the first quadrant, and this particular graph has been divided into 9 quadrants, sorry. And on the first quadrant, if you can see, the parcel services are there, where slow delivery times are there and small or light items are only provided. In the next quadrant falls the express services and courier services. So if you can see, quick, they try to provide next day or overnight, and express services, compared to express services, courier services try to be more quick, and small or light items, if they are there, they fall in this particular range. And so when it tries to move on to the right side, and if you can take on along the left side, you can see heavy goods or volume goods are there. Those are the those takes a lot of time, that is slow, that they can go more than one day, right? So big express they go with, and general cargo is there in between of heavy goods, volume goods, and parcel services. So general cargo also, if you take, they go with the slow only, and the shipment weight is also medium there, it will be. And groupage forwarder or general cargo forwarders are considered here, it comes here. And if you can see, integrator comes under that, and it tries to falls in the courier services, or that is where they try to provide quick services by integrating all the services. So this was regarding the competition matrix, which was introduced in 2005. If we see the compare with the present scenario, again the same concept of CEP services, even the requirements of the particular CEP services have to be improved according to the technologies and everything. So I have tried to figure out what is the present scenario. So sharing the PIs, if you see, incumbents increases their efficiency and reduce their environmental impact by collaborating more and developing new business models such as sharing networks. So research around the physical internet leads to the shared standards for shipment sizes. So greater model connectivity and even IT requirements across carriers is required. So as networks become more fully shared, CEP companies will focus their competitive edge on customer expectations. So as you can see, even CEP companies try to rely on IT requirements, and when they can get more real-time information, what happens is that physical internet is used. So CEP companies will focus on their they try to focus on customer expectations then. So companies which can build on a strong brand profit from improved margins by partnering with other firms to cover less profitable delivery routes. The regional focus of CEP providers will enhance the service level for customers. So by providing physical internet, sharing the physical internet services, this particular CEP providers can enhance the service level for customers, especially in isolated areas along less profitable routes. So this was the first criteria. Let's look into the second criteria. So new entrants become significant players and even take market share from the incumbents. So through new business models based on data analytics, blockchain, or other technologies, one or two become dominant in specific segments. So last mile delivery is the second factor, that is which becomes more fragmented. That is, with crowd delivery solutions gaining ground, these startups collaborate with incumbents and complement their services. That is, they try to complement the services by collaborating with the incumbents, right? That is the startups. So CEP have to compete with startups which may have a clear cost advantage if their people are independent contractors rather than employees. So transportation and logistics is among the top industries to replace labor with automation. So but the time frames for implementation vary. Sortation and picking, for example, will be automated much quicker than last mile delivery. So blockchain technology also fosters automation and efficiency offers. So as we have discussed all these concepts, that is all these applications, that is blockchain technology, AI, and everything is automation is required for anything that is in logistics service providers. If you can see, IT is very importantly related, that is information technology, and based on that autonomous automation, and even provide blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, all these are very much a requirement of the present scenarios, if you can consider it. And coming to the third point is the complex competition, that is big retail players are expanding their logistic offerings to fill their own needs and beyond, right? So effectively moving from customers to competitors, that is they purchase small logistics players to help cover major markets and draw on their deep understanding of customer behavior to optimize the supply chains. So technology firms who used to be suppliers to the industry enter the logistics arena too. That is, even the suppliers are trying to enter the logistics arena. And if you see, offering logistics services and turning into competitors. So if you see, this is these companies are facing lot of struggling things because of the data management and because of this artificial intelligence and getting tuned to the information system. This is what is required. So they also struggle to keep up with rapid advances from industry disruptors, even operating primarily in the last mile. So even 3PLs may need to consider partnering with robotic companies to improve warehouse services. We'll be seeing the concepts of 2PL, 3PL, 4PL in the end of the video. Even I have tried to include that in my video. So 3PLs may need to consider partnering with robotics companies to improve warehouse services. So some careers shift from working with current incumbent CEP companies to emerging new competitors, but the net impact is essentially neutral. So coming to the last point of the particular type is the scale matters. That is, incumbents increase efficiency by streamlining their operations and taking full advantage of new technology. So CEP companies increase efficiency in the last mile by introducing new technologies like drones, that is for remote markets, serving both their B2B customers and B2C customers, striving for unique selling points in a highly competitive market. So this is what is the requirement and present scenario and challenging points for the CEP providers. Coming to the next concept of our this video is the system service providers and contract logistics providers. So over the past few years, there has been a significant trend towards outsourcing logistics services, that is service providers. So several forms of outsourcing have been developed in the market. So this development includes carriers and forwarders outsourcing freight services, as well as allocating entire logistics locations to logistics service provider. Comprehensive services like these are also termed as contract logistics. So we'll be seeing in detail also. And in such cases, logistics service providers become contractual partners for system services and are responsible for the organization of complete supply chains. So in particular, if you can see, contract logistical services may include central warehousing management for procurement and distribution logistics, right? So warehousing management, we are trying to see the procurement and distribution logistics, internal and external production, logistical functions or job order production, and comprehensive pickup and delivery systems. So one of the main characteristics of the contractual performance is, like, together with the scope of services provided, is the sustainability of cooperation between the outsourcing company and the service provider. So for this reason, contract periods of 3 years or longer are not unusual. So especially if the outsourcing process requires investment on the part of the service provider. Contract logistics, if you see, opens up a market with high profit margins and rapid growth for the logistics service sector. So thus double-digit growth rates are forecasted for the next few years, and it has been seen. And the logistical expenses comprise all this particular transport, warehousing, transshipment and value-added services, as well as all activities associated with logistical coordination. So transport services accounts for a share of over 40% of the overall logistic volume. So while storage and transshipment services make up about 1/4, so can you imagine? So transport services need to be focused by each and every company. So the remainder includes services related to order processing, inventory management, supply chain management. So there are, however, numerous requirements to be met by providers of contract logistical services. So this include a minimum enterprise size, corresponding availability of capital, and most importantly, know-how in logistics and market cultivation. So in addition, certain company functions such as marketing, production, quality management, controlling, and IT are confronted with the increased challenges which we have discussed in the earlier part of the video. If you see under we have single service providers also, that is they are nothing but the program. Just I'll give a brief introduction of single service providers. The program of single service providers is limited to quite simple transport handling, that is quite simple transport, handling, or warehouse services. They often specialize in specific goods, certain types of freight, or selected industries, and are operated in limited areas or on fixed relations. So examples for logistics single service providers are transport providers such as haulage, contractors, couriers, ambulance services, rescue operations, removal companies, inland waterway and sea shipping companies, air transport companies. So this try to contribute on the transport providers. Coming to the handling providers such as shelf absorber, cargo handling operators, even transshipment terminals, railway stations, airport operators. And coming to the warehousing providers, if you can see, such as store, tank, and silo operators, even staple houses, warehousing companies, parking site, and garage operators. So all these are provided, and even if you can, that is based on the each of the things, that is transportation, handling, and warehousing. So they are single service providers. And less specified, if you can see, that is if you can see, that is the single service provider often operate on the basis of a long-term agreement for fixed clients or a subcontractor for compound and system service providers, which we will be seeing in the next part. So it is less specified. Single service providers execute orders for a changing client on a short-term basis. So long-term usually they go with, and this holds as well for special service providers such as filling and bottling operators, co-packers, confectioners, custom clearance operators, and IT service providers. Transport service providers execute transport and haulage orders they receive directly from customer or from an internet-based freight auction with own leased or chartered transport means. And also handling, warehousing, and special service providers generally operate their own systems and equipments within rented or owned buildings. So even electronic auctions of freights, transports, and other logistic services are confined to standard services and goods packed in normalized package load units or containers. So this was regarding single service provider. Coming to the compound service provider. So a compound service provider links single logistics and other services to a complete service range for anonymous customers. So they try to compound it, as the name indicates. So the service range includes single services, related services, and integrated system services. So example of compound service providers and forwarders are letter post parcel, that is letter post parcel, from various people you get the letters and you post it at one time, right? And express services, freight forwarder, container services, railway companies, that is shipping lines and airlines, operators of logistics centers, MTs, handling companies. So all this comes under the particular compound service providers. And compound service providers operate to a certain extent with own system. Logistics centers are their, transshipment points they have, transport means are their, equipments and personnel, they have their own things. So some services are executed by subcontractors or in cooperation with system partners. So compound service providers, if you can see, they receive their orders generally on short notice from changing customers. Earlier it was single service provider was related on long-term basis, right? Because only single service provider will be chosen and single customer used to be there, and his contract is for the long term. And the contract period for compound service provider agreements are like with fixed prices is maximally 1 year they try to provide it. So this is related to compound service provider. Coming to the system service providers or integrators develop, set up and operate customer specific logistics systems. Their integrated services are adapted to the requirements of one or small number of contract partners. So hence the distinguishing feature of logistics system service providers are integrated system services for the special demand of single customer, highly reliable it is, superior and efficient execution of customer orders. To understand the concept, that is why I have taken the earlier concepts of single service providers and compound service providers, so that you can clearly understand the evolution of system service providers, right? So that is why they came into the picture. And highly reliable, they are superior and efficient execution of customer orders, completely or partly dedicated buildings and customized systems are there. Overall responsibility for performance, quality and cost. So to some extent, these logistics system providers are comparable to general contractors in building industry and plant businesses. However, the focus of general contractor is on planning and realization of a system or building. So to be competitive, the provider must be significantly better and more cost efficient than a customer who operates with single service provider. So otherwise outsourcing of logistics system services is not attractive, right? So key success factors of qualified system service providers are competent and trustworthy management, qualified and skilled staff, high efficiency by professionalism, experience and specialization, synergies and saving potentials by joint utilization of resources, lower staff costs due to low wages and longer and flexible working times, own resources for functional critical services, capable control, information and communication systems, balancing potentials and available resources for peak loads, know-how is there and market power for purchasing single services. So a system service provider operates for single customers based on a long-term contract with prices fixed for at least 1 year. And the minimal contract duration depends on the investment and the technical lifetime of the customer specific system, buildings and equipments. The shortest contract duration for the system services are 3 years. Usually contract durations are 5 years. And in a trusting business relationship, the contracts can last for 10 years and longer also. So due to the long-term contracts, the businesses of logistics system services is called contract logistics. So system service providers with own IT systems and logistics resources are also called as the third-party logistics. And system service providers who have no own logistics resources are named as the fourth part logistics. So we'll be seeing this service providers, that is system service providers 3PL and 4PL in the next thing in detail. And this was related to the introduction of concept of system service providers. And as you can see, I have tried to figure it out, the characteristics of the single service provider, compound service provider and system service provider. If you can see characteristic competence, single services, transport, handling, storage and everything, component services, link transport, freight services are there. And under system services, if you can see system operation, network services will be there. And resources will be transport means logistic operations, freight networks will be there, transfer terminals are there, logistics networks and logistics centers are there in the system service provider. And if you see the competences, competence, related technical know-how is there, special experience and skills will be seen in the single service provider, whereas in the compound services, technology, organization, transport scheduling, freight forwarding will be there. And under system service provider, logistics, IT, supply chain management, system planning, project management will be involved. And under the orientation, service quality is checked under single service provider. And compound service provider, service and performance they try to focus on. And system service provider focus on customer services. So accordingly they have tried to provide the services. Service quality, that is special goods, local, regional, national relations. If you can see, there is key account that was related to orientation. Coming to the customers, relations binding time, that is small in the single service provider, small and temporary, as we have seen in the earlier part of the video. Personal, it is individual, short or varying. And all sizes are there under compound service provider. Varying, it is anonymous, ordered are there, and up to 1 year the binding time will be there. And under the system service provider, if you can see, it is big and constant. And if you can see under this, that is the 3 to 10 years is the time, binding time. Tendering is like inquiry of under a single service provider. Under compound service provider, inquiry or call for bids is there. So order and confirmation frame contract. And under system service provider, call for bids is there, letter of intent have to be created, and service contracts also have to be created. So this was a characteristics and features of the 3 service providers. Coming to the next part of the next topic is the outsourcing and contracting strategies. So not all logistics services should be outsourced, right? So not every company needs a system service provider. So without knowing the goals of the company, it is impossible to decide whether and to which extent logistics should be a core competence, right? So it is also difficult to state in general whether or only parts of the company's logistics should be outsourced to single and compound service providers, or whether it is opportune to transfer the whole logistics to a system provider, right? So if certain logistics services are key competitive advantage, it is wrong to outsource them. So even if this would reduce costs and avoids own investments. So in this case, the company should make logistics its core competency and develop its own competitive and cost-effective logistics system. But another question which arises with the outsourcing of warehousing is the responsibility for the inventory level. So an independent service provider cannot be alone responsible for scheduling the inventory of customers. So he should also execute the storage and replenishment orders which are generated by agreed rules or a program based on algorithms and strategies defined by the client. So the goals, strategies and decisions of inventory management are key success factors of the business and should not be delegated to a third party. So before purchasing logistics services, a contracting strategy must be developed in order to achieve the company's specific goal. So these are extension of performance limits, service improvements, that is performance limits, service improvements, cost reductions, concentration and concentration on core competencies, release of own resources, reduction of staff, use of external competencies, avoiding investments, increased flexibility are all the things which need to be included in the contracting strategy. So a qualified system service provider simplifies the business of the customer and reduces the complexity of his process by trying to go with the contracting strategies. So contracting strategies, let's look into the deep of it. So after the outsourcing decision, it is necessary to fix the number of bidders, to specify the required logistics services and to assign a limited number of providers. So by the experience of many tender processes and contract negotiations, the following contract strategies have been approved. That is, for transports and shipments to and from the same region, only one carrier or forwarder should be taken. In order to participate in the cost saving from paid transports, it is opportune to tender truckload transports to and from the same region together, and to place the order to one transport service provider. So full and less than truckload transports are better tendered separated from parcel, general cargo and special logistics services, as the synergies between these services are minimal and the bidders are normally not equally qualified in all these areas. So, and even if you see also combined freight or combi freight, that is called as, that is shipments containing a mixture of parcels, pallets and other packages for the same destination, is better tendered separately. So the combi freight forwarders with their specialized freight network are more flexible than the highly standardized parcel services and pallet freight forwarders. So if you see parcel services, letter mail and combined freight to and from to the same country are better tendered separately and placed each to only one provider for the whole country. So there are many things to consider under this. That is, you need to set the strategies and to analyze all these things. So that is outsourcing options for warehousing services requiring a major investment for a new building and systems are, there is own investment and operations. The warehouse is realized at own costs. So there is, we have various sorts of outsourcing options also based on these contracting strategies. So own investment and operations, if you take, the warehouse is realized at own cost and operated by the company itself. And the second one, if you see own investment and external operation, the warehouse is realized by the company itself and operated by a logistics service provider. and even it can go for the third option, that is external investment and operation, that is building logistic systems are invested, realized and operated by a logistics service provider. So this was related to contracting strategies. Coming to the last part of the video, that is a distinguishing between 3PL, 4PL and 5PL have been introduced here. So if you can see 3PL, it has been introduced in Accenture first, and even many of the companies were trying to figure out with the things with the concepts of the 3PL. That is, 3PL is nothing but third party logistics, 4 is the fourth party logistic, and 5PL is the fifth party logistic. And if you can we try to see for the one party logistics, it is between two companies, that is from the supplier to the manufacturer only. And two party logistics, as you can see in the figure, a particular transportation service is there in between, that is two party logistics is there. And coming to the 3PL, if you can see in the figure, it is I have liked this particular figure from the internet to better make you understand. I have taken this particular figure. So under third party logistics, as you can see, specialize in integrated operations of warehousing and transportation services are provided. That is standard 3PL provider. This is the most basic form of a 3PL provider, where they would perform activities such as pick and pack, warehousing and distribution. The most basic functions of logistics are given to that particular third party. That is, third party will be taking into consideration all the transportation, warehousing and distributing and warehousing and pick and pack, all these services. So it takes it from the supplier and provides it to the manufacturer. So that is what is the 3PL. Service developers will be there in this type of 3PL. Providers will offer their customers advanced value-added services such as tracking and tracing, cross-docking, specific packaging, or providing a unique security system. Under the customer adapter and the customer developer, this occurs when the 3PL provider integrates itself with the customer and takes over their entire logistics function. So this is related to 3PL. Coming to the fourth party logistics, it was introduced in it was introduced by Accenture in 2005. So it was trying to do research under this. So extension of 3PL to 4PL it has done. So it was trying to logistics planning, consulting, logistics information system, supply chain management and other activities. It tried to integrate everything in this particular thing. So it tried to assist in import and export tariffs, collections and other functions. And even if you see SCM provider, it tried to act as. So manage and direct the activities of multiple 3PLs. So serving as an integrator, 4PLs are serving as an integrator also, and 4PLs are not asset based usually, and it assemble and manage the resources, capabilities and technology of its own organization and other organizations to design, build and run comprehensive supply. And coming to the 5PL, it has been introduced by Morgan Stanley in 2014. It tries to provide integrated operations, that is IT helps 5PL to link with every phases of the supply chain of the customer cluster. So customers cluster, whatever is there, it tries to link with every phase. And coming to the logistics information platform, supply chain logistics system optimization, supply chain integration and supply chain capital operations, standardized product categories. So it tries to provide all these services. So even the standardized product categories also it tries to provide. That is, the systematic convergence through benchmarking can help the realization. And why companies go for this particular 5PL is like customization market also. That is, accurate market positioning through logistics planning, technology and system, through a combination of qualitative and quantitative analysis methods which will be provided by this fifth party logistics. And coming to the last service provided by it is like IT supported services. That is, by strategic design, a multi-interface, multi-user and trans-regional logistics service platform can be built up. So it can provide a variety of service combinations for every customer at any time. And even there has been a 6PL introduction recently, which I was trying to go under the study, and which tries to inculcate AI under this particular, that is, it is trying to integrate all the particular process, everything, automation they are trying to go for, AI, that is use of artificial intelligence with and blockchain technology, all these things they are trying to provide sixth party logistics, and that is considered under sixth party logistics. So this was regarding logistics service providers. Thank you.